my point of view, I am your fat and opinionated host, and I think that at the very least, we can all agree upon one thing, and that is that the world is a crazy place. We are living in some very crazy times right now, but I think it's important that we all hold out hope. Maybe your parents didn't get it right. Maybe you didn't get it right. Maybe I didn't get it right. Maybe as a collective, our various generations didn't get it right. But at the very least, we can count on our youth to usher in some brighter days. Or can we? Or can we? I mean, back in my day, we were taught that we could be anything, that we could achieve anything as long as we put our mind to it. We could be a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut flying in outer space, a firefighter, the next president of the United States. We were literally taught that you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. And of course, none of us became the president. Those of us who dreamed of flying in outer space, most of us put those dreams to the side for more obtainable goals. A lot of us that wanted to be a firefighter when we were a kid, we grew up and realized how dangerous the job was and decided to take a desk job instead. But that core value was still instilled in you. It was etched in you. It was carved in you. That you, with enough hard work, determination, dedication, that you could achieve anything. But somewhere along the line, over the past few years, that value, that you could be anything, changed into you can be anyone. No longer are these kids taught that they could achieve anything in life. These kids are now taught that they could be anyone in life. They could be a girl, a boy, a dog, a cat, literally. Kids are being taught in school these days that they can be animals. You see, we at the very least, we knew who we were. We had that part down pat. Yes, it took some longer than others to figure out who they were. But at the end of the day, we weren't confused over our genders. We weren't confused over who we were as people. That was the first basic step of accepting who you were. Short, fat, small, tall, didn't matter. Boy, girl, tomboy, maybe a little sweet. It didn't matter. You were who you were. You accepted that, and then you moved forward to try to make you the best version of yourself that you could possibly be by achieving whatever goals that you set out for yourself. But now, kids are being taught to question themselves, to question who they are. They're no longer worried about achieving these goals. They're too concerned over figuring out what their gender is. Even though I would argue that your gender was chosen for you before you ever made it to this earth. So long gone are the days of striving to be the best that you can be. And now the days of being confused over who you even are have been ushered in. You see, to achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves, it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of time. It took dedication. To achieve the goals that kids nowadays have for themselves, which is to figure out what your pronouns are, it doesn't take much. You go home, lock yourself in your room, yell at your mom and dad, probably don't have a father in your life, and you get on TikTok, and you complain to the world about how you're so oppressed, while you eat Cheetos and watch Cartoon Network and come up with fantasy genders and pronouns inside your head to refer to yourself as. You're no longer worried about what you will become in life. You're no longer worried about your goals in life. Now you're so transfixed on who you even are. We accepted our genders and who we were basically from the get-go. Yes, there are people out there who were confused. Yes, there's people out there who were different than others, and I understand that. But the rate at which it's happening now, to where everyone just seems to be confused, no one seems to know who the hell or what the hell they are anymore, that's something that we didn't deal with. So out the gate, we accepted who we were, and then we kept progressing through life. Kids nowadays are being taught that they could be whatever they want to be or whoever they want to be, and they no longer start progressing. They get stuck right here at this point, still trying to figure out what they are. Because they're told, and they're lied to, that they could be whoever they want to be. You can't be whoever you want to be. You could be whatever you want to be, but you're always going to be who you are. Yes, you can go get plastic surgeries. You could chop your nuts off. You can do whatever you want to do, but you're still going to be who you are. And you will always battle with yourself if you're confused about who you are. So holding out this hope that our youth is going to usher in brighter days, it's kind of it's kind of not going well. And if you think it's going well, I want you to take a look at what just happened at UNT the other day. You see, a speaker came to speak about trans child abuse. And I know that's a tough subject. It's a heavy subject. It's definitely a subject that I can't really talk about here on YouTube. But his points are that now some parents are downright mistreating their children. They're doing horrible things to their children because they think they're trans. We have 4-year-olds now, 5-year-olds that are going through transitions. They're being given medicine, you name it. And I do think that is abuse. I do think that is horrible. I can't get into the nitty-gritty details of it because I can't on this channel. But anyway, a speaker came to a college to speak about that. And he was met by our youth. I want you all to take a look.
I want you all to see this who you really are. We can't be I want you to see your vulgarity. I'm miseducated you all. I want you to see you disrespect your own profession. I want you to see it. This is who you are. This is who you are. White people. They will never be like you. Police, I just got spin on.
Oh my God. Oh, why? Listen, I only put y'all through a few seconds of that. I want you to understand that I watched over an hour of this. Over an hour of this freaking weirdo sitting there screaming at the top of her lungs. I don't care if she thinks she's a man. Of her lungs for no apparent reason. It was absolutely insane, but it shows you This shows you the state of our youth. It shows you how mentally ill a lot of these young people are. And it's not just because they're dealing with problems of their own. It's because they're being taught this stuff. They're being taught this stuff at school. And if you're one of these people who are about to put your kids through college, double think it. Think about it twice. You think that you're sending your kid off to college to mold them into being some successful business person or whatever the hell route they're going, when in reality, they're going to college and they're being radicalized by weirdos like this. Absolute weirdos. And listen, I try not to get too political. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I don't know what anyone would label me. I really don't care. I just have my own beliefs. I believe in right and wrong. You know, right and left doesn't really concern me as much as right and wrong. But I have to acknowledge the fact that for the majority, it's people on the left acting like this. And for those of you on the left, I know everyone on the left isn't like this. Y'all need to start getting this in check. Seriously. Y'all need to get this shit in check. You're allowing mental health issues to run rampant through these young kids and through these people, and no one wants to address it. No one wants to address it. No one in their right mind space would sit there and scream and act like this person did. They wouldn't. Simple as that. And it all goes hand in hand with each other. Because most of the people that I see that are trying to push this pronouns bullshit, most of the people I see that want to, live in a fantasy world and think that they are whatever the hell they are, they want to push those beliefs on other people. But not just that, they all look like this. They all look like they're mentally insane. And that's because, for the majority, a lot of them are. And a lot of them have been taught this since they were young by their teachers, some even by their parents. Some are perfectly normal kids before they make it to college, and then they get, they find a friend like whatever the hell that was screaming, and the next thing you know, their lives are over. Now they're just some gender confused weirdo that dresses super undesirably and just becomes undesirable in life. And I don't say that to be mean. I don't want to talk about anyone's looks. I'm not talking about these people's looks because I think they're ugly and hideous. I talk about these people's looks because they purposely make themselves look grotesque in order to virtue signal. That person screaming, that young woman screaming was 17 years old. She looks like she's like 30 or 40. Half of her head shaved. She's got a fucking mullet going on. She's dressed like a freaking Russian hitman with the fucking combat boots, with her tummy hanging out. I'm a fat guy. I'm not weight shaming, but damn, she looks absolutely freaking disgusting. Why? Because she made herself look that way purposely to be anti-society, to be anti-conformist. So now she wants to refer to herself as a he, him, and dresses like a complete weirdo, cuts their hair like a complete weirdo, and then wonders why society looks at them differently when they go so far and go so hard to try to make themselves look like this. They want to look undesirable so they can point the finger at you and say that something's wrong with you for looking at them like they're weird, when in reality, they spend the majority of their day trying to make themselves look like this. This is what the youth has become. Go to your kid's high school. Look around. The emo kids, the goth kids, they're gone. There's no more emo and goth. Now there's the trans kids. To where it's become the popular thing to do, to sit at home and create random pronouns. And it's escalating very quickly, people. It doesn't stop here. It wasn't enough that, someone wants to identify as a man, so they want you to refer to them as a he or a him. It quickly could progress to these people are making random noises with their mouth, but they want you to accept it as reality. There's literally someone I saw the other day that says that they identify as a, and that when you talk to them, they don't want you to call them a she or a he. They want you to go, There's people who are identifying as trees, as cats, as dogs, you name it. It has gone full, just completely out of hand. And while all of this is happening, they've lost touch of that core value that you could be anything in life. They're no longer striving to be anything. Do you think that any of these people are going to grow up to be very successful people with successful careers? No. They're going to sit on their ass, collect government checks, and complain on social media apps about how the world doesn't accept them because they have become victims in their own minds of who knows what. What are they really victims of? They're victims of themselves because they themselves destroyed their own selves with all of this nonsense. Most of these people aren't trans. They aren't people who feel like they're the wrong gender, trapped in the wrong body. Most of these people are just either absolutely insane or they're caught up in the hype. They're caught up in what's popular. They think that they become more valuable when all of a sudden, I don't feel like I'm actually my gender anymore. I'm a man now. They think that they're more valuable once they do that because now they get more attention on social media. And regardless if it's bad attention, negative attention, or if it's good attention, now they're getting more attention. And kids these days, they're obsessed with attention because we're living in a social media time. What better way to get more clicks on social media than to make yourself look like a complete weirdo while talking about things that no one else is talking about because you're literally creating fake fantasies in your mind about pronouns and genders that you created for yourself. And now next thing you know, you're getting more attention. And they keep going with this. But most of them will probably grow up and turn into people who realize that this was totally idiotic. Maybe this is just a phase. But unlike the phases that our generations went through, these phases can't be reversed. Once you start taking some of these hormone medicines, once you go under the knife, it's a wrap. Your life will be changed forever. And a lot of these kids within the next couple of years would look back on these times and think they're complete idiots. I mean, I look back on myself when I was 18 and some of the decisions I was making around that time, and I'm like, what a complete fucking idiot. And I'm sure that a lot of these people will grow out of this and think the same, but once you've pumped yourself with all of these hormones, once you're a grown woman, well, what should have been a grown woman that stopped yourself from developing breast and ass and whatever other ways you would have developed, and instead you started developing mustaches, you're no longer going to ever be the person that you were supposed to grow into. There's no reversing that. And instead of tackling this situation like the serious situation it is, it's being passed off like it's a no-brainer. It's no problem. You just be whatever gender you want to be. And then they all wind up like this. They all wind up like people who can't even accept reality. Look at all those people that were in that room, banging their hands on the desk. Wah! Wah! Does that look like mentally stable people to you? Do you know the one thing that all of those people had in common? They were all in that room going crazy, and they all believed that they were different random genders or what have you. And that shows you right there where their mental state is. There was no one besides maybe the speaker, and I never even got to hear the speaker speak. There was no one there in that room that was mentally stable. Anyone that was mentally stable would have left. I feel like I'm not even mentally stable for sitting through that whole fucking video. Literally, I need therapy now. That was next level. But that's the reality of what's going on every day. Every day. And if you question it, if you talk about it, you're a bad person. Now you're a bad person. But I don't care. I think as a society, we have to shrug off this threat of being considered a bad person. And we got to start speaking sense. We got to stick to reality. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a damn how anyone feels about anything I said right here, because I know that I stuck to reality and I stuck to the truth. And none of you watching this video can challenge that. You can make up your fake genders and your fake pronouns, but it will never be real. everything that I'm saying is grounded in reality. And it is real. And you can't challenge that. Just like these people couldn't challenge whatever this speaker was setting out to say. They couldn't battle it with logic. They could only battle it by reading as loud as anyone possibly can, screaming at the top of their lungs, banging on desks, because they don't want to be awakened to the reality of life. Because they, since some of them since the womb, have been conditioned to think that they could just create whatever fantasies they want in their mind and that the rest of the world will have to conform to it. But the rest of the world doesn't conform to you as an individual. And it never will. And that goes with a lot of things. There's a lot of changes that we need to make in this world. Even at the beginning of this video, I acknowledge that I didn't get it right, you didn't get it right, your parents didn't get it right. But this young generation is damn sure on the wrong path. They're on the path to destruction. I talk about mental health a lot on my various channels. This isn't my main channel, but I cover mental health and things of that nature on my various channels. And this right here is it's right there in front of us. It's right there in front of us. And instead of tackling the problem, everyone wants to be scared. Everyone wants to shy away from it. But it's your kids. It's your kids that you're sending off to school that are being turned into these, whatever the hell these people are. They're being radicalized. And like I stated, for the majority, it's the people on the left that are with this. Now, I know both sides have their fair share of crazy. The right has some crazy, the left has some crazy. So I don't want y'all to think that I'm just trying to shit on the left here. But this is an issue that is taking place almost 100% exclusively from the left. And instead of the left acknowledging it as a mental health problem, they are trying to normalize it. They're passing bills, laws, legislation every day trying to normalize it. It's gotten to the point where we have to watch a man break all of the women's swimming records and stuff. Grown men who literally, even themselves identified as grown men just last year, the year before, are now suddenly changing into women and dominating women's sports. There's so much going on here to unpack, but no one wants to address it. So I guess I'm going to have to step up and I'll put myself in the line of fire because I don't give a damn. I'll talk about it. These kids in this class were all mentally ill. They all need to seek therapy. They all need help. If anyone is a parent of any of these kids, they should be ashamed and they need to seek help. And I'm not saying that they should be ashamed because their kids are trans. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they should be ashamed because their kids are totally intolerant and don't even have the mental capability of listening to someone speak. They don't even have that. For people who are supposedly fighting for acceptance, they can't even accept a different point of view. Arguably, it's not even a different point of view. They can't just accept reality because it's not a point. Sticking to reality isn't necessarily a point of view. Like, I didn't create these rules. I didn't create the world. I didn't create, people, some who had a vagina and some who had a penis. I didn't do that. The universe did that. And I'm sticking to the reality of the universe. Hopefully, you all are as well. I want you to understand that I don't have any problem with anyone who wants to identify as something else. But once you've brought it to the point where you're trying to mainstream it, you're trying to push it on other people, and you're going out of your way to confuse kids, because kids are very impressionable, there's no reason at all that any of this stuff should be taught in school, period. Period. So once we've gotten to that point, which we have, then it's time that I have to step in and say something. Because if it was individuals wanting to identify as whatever they wanted to identify and living their life, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. I'm all for people being the best version of themselves and living their life. And if you feel like as a man you need to put a dress on and say you're a woman to live your best life, then okay, cool. But that doesn't mean that you need to compete in women's sports. That doesn't mean that you need to take your dick out and go piss in the bathroom and the women's bathroom along with little girls. That's not what that means. That means you're free to be what you want to be in your own little imaginary world, but you don't impose that upon other people who are grounded in reality. You just don't. It's not something that should be accepted when we've reached the point that 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds are being taught that they could grow up and be cat people, that they can be girls or boys. They could be whatever they want to be, because that's not reality. So we're confusing these kids. We're totally ruining the youth. And like I told you, it's important to hold out hope. Well, I think hope is almost all the way lost unless someone steps up and says something or does something fast. But I want to know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. And as always, find some time out of your day to remain opinionated.